It is the 64th year of the Meiji era, or 1931 in this alternate Japan. The current shogun, Yoshinobu Tokugawa, has gained absolute power because of the monopoly over a natural resource known as the Ryum-Yaku. Those who oppose the rule are silenced by the general's men. For this very reason, a secret organization of executioners is created to terminate dissenters in the name of preserving peace. At night, inside a bookshop named Morning Dew Used Bookstore, little Asahi is working hard getting dinner ready. As they eat, Sawa Yukimura, our main character and one of the executioners, informs her that the little girl still has no suitors. Asahi isn't in a rush to get married anyway. She has more important tasks, like gobbling down her dinner. In the morning, Sawa opens the bookstore as a man stands in front of the door, trying to impress Sawa with his suit and tie. She isn't fazed by it, but lets him in nonetheless. He then proceeds to ask for her hand in marriage. Sawa rejects him coldly. He then wants to know her full name, but they get interrupted by a little boy. The man goes about his way while she gives the kid money for his book. At the Nue organization, which recruits executioners to discard those who plot against the shogun, Sawa is harassed by a drunk man. Makoto Tsukishiro, who also happens to work for the organization, stops him with a firm grip and the man scurries away. Sawa irritatingly states that she can protect herself. In one of the rooms, Elena Hanakaza, another member, is about to provide some services when they barge in. The man is perplexed and wants her to be his like she promised, but instead she kills him in a matter of seconds. Makoto cheekily tells her to feed him to the spiders as if his life didn't amount to anything. He and Sawa enter a meeting room through a secret door. Jinn Kuzuhara, the group leader, is already present there. A map is spread open. Upon seeing the two, he inquires about Hanakaza, but Sawa questions about their next mission instead. Meanwhile, Asahi's little feet are working hard to keep her from falling off the stool as she chops the vegetables. Back at the meeting room, Jinn relays that as they are aware of the fact that the military general Yoshinobu, under whom the organization works, will be going out the next day for the celebration of the Tokyo castle, and they need to stop his assassination from occurring. Jinomi, a mad scientist, has been smuggling animals from overseas for the experimentation of turning them into changelings. One of the main concerns is that their powers have not been revealed yet, and God knows what havoc they will cause. Jinn orders them to get rid of those changelings before they pose a threat to Yoshinobu and the celebration. Elena comes marching in a little late with a record book of clients from Underworld deals. Jinn wants them to track down Jinomi with it. They all almost leave for the mission, but Jinn stops Sawa. She already knows the drill and repeats that. They only exist in the shadows. They have to be grateful for the position granted to them by the general, and they shouldn't go berserk, keeping their personal feelings under control. At a ballroom party, Makoto is dressed as a musician as he skillfully plays the bandoneon. Some English-speaking man tries to charm Elena, but Makoto once again saves the day by getting her out of the sticky situation. She spots their target in the crowd. Even though he only appears to be a rich executive of a company, under the facade, the man is immersed in illegal business. They follow him because Elena is quite certain that the intel she has received is correct. Jeeps loaded with smuggled goods arrive at a warehouse. Janome is supposed to meet the men here. Makoto signals for Elena to shoot. Her umbrella transforms into a weapon and she shoots one of the men. This alarms the rest. They retaliate by raining bullets their way. Makoto throws a bomb under the car as a distraction while the duo jumps in the middle of their battlefield. Makoto, in the blink of an eye, kills a few with his sword. Elena finishes them with her rope dart. Upon entering the warehouse, not a single soul is present. It's pitch black, and in one of the rooms filled with smuggled rice, a time bomb has been set up. Seems like this whole thing was a trap to lure them in. The place explodes behind them as they speed away in a car. Makoto informs Elena that the city has underground tunnels that can be accessed through 2 gates. The west gate is heavily guarded, and the east gate has been closed down ages ago. No man dares to go through it. Just then, a changeling bursts through the east gate. Sawa is already there. It jumps on her, but she dodges the attack, draws some blood from him and injures his eye. When he is busy tending to himself, Sawa's familiar comes and lands on her arm. Her appearance transforms into a pure-blooded changeling. Her eyes turn blue just like his. She tells him that she doesn't hold any personal grudges with him, nor does she have the desire to kill him, but she has to do it for the sake of avenging her family. Just then, the changeling turns to face her and her breath gets caught in her throat. He happens to be that man from the bookstore. He's losing his mind. The experiment has messed with his head. The pain is unbearable. He starts rolling on the snow-clad ground, begging her to make it stop. He attacks her with his dagger-like claws, injuring her. She angrily wields her sword at him and finishes him off. They both transform back into their normal human forms. Sawa closes his eyes and tells him her actual name, announcing that she is Sawa Kurosumori. The fight has taken a toll on her body as she hits the ground and faints. The next day, the celebrations for the completion of the castle are in full bloom. Meanwhile, a changeling kills a guard from what appears to be a library of sorts and steals the book titled Tokyo Roaster. Another one, with a snake familiar slithering over his body, plays the piano and mischievously utters that he is quite impatient to cross paths with a crow familiar again. Sawa is back in the house asleep. Her mind has drifted off to the fateful night when her older brother, Takeru Karasumori, was killed. She helplessly watched from a hiding spot as tears streamed down her face. In the current time, Asahi sits beside her sleeping form and silently cries. She wipes away her tears, picking up a kitchen knife. Makoto reports to Jinn about the recent deaths. The number has reached to 5. They were all people funded by the government in secrecy and were promising citizens. Their names were present in the stolen roaster. Jinn wonders how the Kuchinawa organization that wants to overthrow the current regime got its hands on it, because only a Nue agent knows where the files are placed. Jinn orders Makoto to dig up the source from where they were tipped off for the night at the party. Makoto is about to leave when Jinn stops him to inquire about Sawa. He reports that she has disappointingly survived the fight and has been recovering for the past few days. Thanks to her gifted healing power, she will be up and running in no time. However, he'd rather have her dead. Sawa's familiar comes to give her some information. She hasn't forgotten about it for a moment. As she flips through a diary, she stops at the pages splashed with her mother's blue blood. She recalls the time her whole clan was murdered. If her brother hadn't kept her hidden, she would have met the same fate. Jinn had found little Sawa trying to dig graves. His men helped with the digging while he recruited her as an executioner to take revenge on whoever was responsible for taking her loved ones from her forever. He had explained to her about the Nue organization and told her that he wanted her to be an executioner. He had trained her for 2 reasons. For the organization to be powerful with her added in it, for her to take revenge by getting her vengeance through him. With time and effort, she grew stronger. It started with taking the lives of some ruffians blocking the villagers' path, but she ended up scaring them away. The flashback ends. Elena and Sawa set out on their next mission to meet a treasurer at a restaurant where she works as a waiter. They are impressed with the way she doesn't have to write any orders and just memorizes whatever is said. They call her over. In coded words, they ask her about the treasurer. She takes them outside. Sawa assures her safety by telling her that a car is waiting to take her away. However, that doesn't last long because it gets attacked and 2 men with loaded guns trap them. Sawa finishes them off with ease. They try to escape, but more assassins come after them. Elena stays behind while Sawa takes the treasurer through an underground passage which will eventually lead to a boat awaiting her safe departure from Tokyo. The treasurer confesses that it's probably going to be pointless because riots are taking place in the east and the west of Japan. She goes on and on about how Nue doesn't even want to recognize the existence of an opposition, and the anti-regime forces are gaining popularity day by day. Sawa doesn't seem bothered by whatever is happening around them. This irks the treasurer. She leaves Sawa baffled when she starts reciting the layout of the tunnel system, Sawa's actual full name, the date she was born, and joined the organization. Her brain happens to memorize whatever information it receives. This is why she is known as the Treasurer. Sawa holds her against the wall with the sword. As Asahi is tending to the bookstore, Makoto comes in with a bottle of pills that can knock someone dead in a matter of 10 seconds. He wants her to use them on Sawa to take her revenge because the woman has killed her parents. The flashback starts. Asahi's mother dolls her up for a man to take advantage of the little girl. Nue executioners barge in, killing the adults for selling their property to Janome. As they're about to leave, Sawa's eyes fall on Asahi stuck under the rubble, reminding her of her own self. She decides to take in the little girl as her sister. The flashback ends. Makoto further pumps her up by telling her that maybe the reason Sawa is raising her is just so she can take the woman's life. Asahi confesses to Makoto that she had attempted to take Sawa's life when she was injured, but the woman had stopped her. Makoto still cheers her on to follow through with using the pills on Sawa. In the tunnel, Sawa has the treasurer still backed against the wall, demanding her to tell her about the mountain town in Aomir that was set ablaze 10 years prior. The lady timidly informs her that the government wanted everything about the Blue Blood clan to stay hidden, and the only ones aware of it happened to be the Nue members and Janome, who is currently recreating her people's blood power and using it to make changelings, though it still needs a little tweaking to attain perfection. Sawa wants her to give her details that could possibly lead her to Janome because all the records have been burned down, but the woman refuses to give any of it up for the sake of keeping her son alive. She knows the organization will come after him. They agree that the treasurer will tell her everything when they are able to save the former's son. Just as they exit the tunnel, they get ambushed by a group of men firing at them. The treasurer escapes, but a gorilla-like changeling appears out of the woods. Elena joins Sawa for backup. Sawa transforms in her blue blood appearance, terminating the changeling. The changeling returns to its original human form. Sawa stands tall without any remorse, tells the dead body to seek vengeance in the afterlife. Sawa is about to take the treasurer to the boat as promised earlier, but the boat engine is busted. To make matters worse, Elena pierces right through the treasurer's heart and informs her with a malevolent smile that her son is already dead. Sawa's defenses are up. She doesn't understand why Elena would kill her, and the woman refuses to give away any information. Back at the Nue organization, Sawa confronts Jinn about disposing of the treasurer. Jinn informs her that it was the general's orders and reminds her that he had taught her to forget what remorse felt like. Sawa angrily walks away because her ticket to finding the truth has been snatched away. Later, Makoto comes to see Sawa. He tells her to stop with the whole sisterly act before Janomi figures out and kills the little girl. Sawa relays that Asahi's death wouldn't mean anything to her. Makoto can see right through her and shares that he too struggles while doing his job because of being too sentimental. Flashback begins. Jinn explains to little Sawa that her target of revenge happens to be Janomi. The man is a brilliant scientist who once worked for the general, but he started experimenting on kids and the elderly. The man is so sick in the head that he even turned himself into a test subject. His pictures show that his back has some sort of black patches, probably from the various experiments. Jinn further explains that Janomi was in search of immortality through the use of genetic modifications when he stumbled upon Sawa's village. He burned it down because the people refused to cooperate. All he wanted was their blood and took it anyway. She can't bring herself to look at the images of the place that was once her beloved home and bursts into tears. A child can only take so much. Jinn wants her to forget her emotions. They are her weakness. The flashback ends and she wonders to herself why she had saved Asahi back then. During dinner, Sawa instructs Asahi to leave the house. Them living under the same roof has been a huge mistake. The sudden abandonment doesn't come as a surprise, however. Asahi thinks that she has been caught with the pills. Sawa has probably figured out that she will end up poisoning her food. Sawa angrily tells her to kill her properly if she must. Otherwise, she won't be sparing the little girl's life. Sawa warns her to leave before she comes back if she wants to keep living. Later, Asahi walks out of the bookstore broken-hearted. The old lady that usually gives her a radish calls her over. Asahi happily takes the radish but remembers that this time she can't take it to Sawa. Meanwhile, the three new members ambush a cleaner because the fake tip from the party has led them back to him. The man swears that he doesn't know what they are talking about even after they open the coffin filled with cash. He is adamant on making them believe that he has no connections to Janomi. Elena starts describing the ways they will torture him to get him to confess. Just when it looks like he is about to give up, he puts his hat on the ground and steps on it, causing an explosion. He uses this distraction to hide. Makoto tells them that he has most likely escaped through the underground passage. Sawa doesn't even take a moment to think and jumps right in to capture him. Elena wants to assist her at the exit and runs in that direction. When the coast is clear, Makoto opens the coffin to reveal the man hiding there. If he already knew this, then why did he misguide the women? The cleaner is holding a gun this time and begs for Makoto to help him. Makoto tells him that if he comes out with the truth, then he will help him escape. Meanwhile, the women start fighting each other, but soon realize that they got the wrong person. They hear a gunshot. The cleaner is dead with a bullet to his chest. The first question Jinn asks Makoto happens to be why he had to kill the man. He unabashedly relays that the man committed suicide and further reports to Jinn that the coded conversations with Janomi and the payment records have already been submitted, which should make things easy for Jinn. Knowing Makoto, the latter keeps staring at him skeptically. The Nue women are busy filling up the cleaner's grave with dirt when Elena randomly comments about wanting a red grave. She asks Sawa about hers, but the woman remains silent. Looking at her dirty hand, she is reminded of when her little form tried to dig graves for her family after they were murdered. Sawa finally answers blue, probably because of her clan's blood color. However, with determination in her eyes, she tells Elena that she wants to put Janomi in a grave before she lands inside one. Later, Makoto finds a small diary with the help of the map given to him by the treasurer that she had claimed would be the end of the regime and Nue. Sawa arrives at her bookstore. The lights are turned off. She thinks that the little girl has already left, but as she turns on the light and looks down at the floor, she sees blood. Sawa hurriedly starts following the bloody trail and sees the tiny handprint left behind by Asahi. Sawa ends up at the old lady's house, the same house that Asahi has told her about multiple times. Unbeknownst to Sawa, the old lady is revealed to be Janomi disguised as one. He has brought Asahi to his lab, and to make matters even more complicated, Makoto has also joined him. Perhaps he is playing the role of a double agent. He deviously says that everything is going according to their plan. Sawa finds Asahi's slipper in the premises of the old lady's house. Sawa desperately starts running again to look for the little girl. Eleanor is enjoying the view from a rooftop. A jeep halts in front of Sawa. Jinn gets off from it and disappointedly questions her choice of action. He enlightens her the information that Makoto was the one who gave away her residential location, and kidnapping Asahi is quite obviously a trap. Moreover, Jinn reminds her that she needs to stick to her initial goal, which happens to be vengeance of her clan, and not saving the little girl. However, if she is so set on rescuing the girl, she has to fight him first. As they draw their swords, Jinn knocks her unconscious with the speed of lightning. The car starts speeding away, but Jinn notices a whole bunch of dog-like changelings with time bombs strapped on their backs, blocking the road. Jinn serves the jeep, makes a sharp turn, but the dogs start chasing it, and the bombs go off one after the other. The jeep topples over them. Jinn looks up to see Makoto carrying an unconscious Sawa. He sarcastically jokes about running away with the princess and walks away, leaving Jinn wounded on the road. A memory comes rushing to Sawa's mind. Her brother Takeru tells her how someday she will be chosen by one of the crows as her familiar, forming a lifelong friendship. Sawa wakes up to Nana poking her face. They're surrounded by darkness. She yells for Janome. The lights turn on one by one, revealing a large snake, and then Janome playing the piano. Sawa's eyes bulge out as anger pumps through her veins. She runs to attack him, but halts when her eyes fall on Asahi trapped between two large snakes wrapped around her small frame. Makoto joins them as well. He introduces her to a seat with wrist straps and a cage for Nana. She puts her sword down and complies with it. She questions Makoto for his betrayal. He replies that he is only doing it for the sake of true freedom. Janome takes her blood sample. He tells her that he envisions the day he attains perfection with the blue blood. Only then will he release Sawa and Asahi. Until that day comes, they will have to call this place their new home. Janome then proceeds to show Sawa a skeleton-like body of her brother strapped to the ceiling. Janome is evil to the core, yet he justifies his actions with claims of doing it all for the sake of the country. Makoto surprisingly decides to sever the heads of the snakes around Asahi. They all start attacking him. He ends up losing his whole arm. With just one arm, he manages to free Nana and Sawa. Janome is left confused. Makoto tells him that he did the whole kidnapping thing because he wanted to remove the burden of revenge from Sawa that was weighing her down. Janome drinks one of the blood samples and transforms into a giant snake-like changeling. Meanwhile, Jinn and Elena hear the coded signal from Makoto and follows the direction it came from. Sawa transforms into her pure-blood changeling form. Janome is thrilled to see it. Sawa attacks, but her sword doesn't cause any damage to him. The snake's skin regenerates. One of the snakes bites into her leg. She feels immense pain from it. Sawa cuts it with her sword, but to no avail. It keeps on regenerating. Janome happily declares that his formula is way stronger than what she has got to offer. Makoto provides no further help, but rather escapes as the ceiling starts to crumble. Janome is losing interest in the fight because Sawa can't seem to block any of his attacks. The snakes drag her up. He tells her that if she is doing this for the sake of revenge, then they are both alike. Just then, her brother has gained enough consciousness that he throws chemical bottles at Janome. They set aflame, burning the snakes, which in turn release their deadly grip on Sawa. Upon seeing her brother awake, her power revives, and she attacks Janome with newfound strength. Sawa is finally able to seize the attack and charges towards him. She skillfully cuts through his snake, putting so much strength into her sword that it slices him in half. A long-awaited dream has at last been fulfilled. Jinn and Elena wait outside because entering that fireball of a place would mean bringing death to themselves. They know she will make it out alive somehow. Inside the crumbling place, Sawa runs towards her brother, wanting to get him to safety, but he wants her to run away because he won't be able to live much longer. She informs him with tears streaming down her face that she was finally able to take revenge. Her brother relays to her that her fight isn't over just yet. Their clan will be hunted down till every single one of them has been wiped out, yet he still wants her to keep on living. She picks him up because she doesn't want to lose him and be all alone again. He pushes her to the ground as a large piece of the ceiling falls down on him, creating a puddle of blood. Sawa helplessly screams in horror. Outside, Elena says that she has probably not survived, but Sawa emerges from the flames with Asahi in her arms. Jinn runs towards them. The next day, Elena is with her ghostwriter, when suddenly she rushes to the bathroom to throw up. The man thinks that he might have done something to upset her and starts apologizing. Meanwhile, Jinn gives Sawa new orders, this time to take care of the mess that Makoto has left behind, which includes seeking him out as well. The mess happens to be weapons of Nue, provided to groups wanting to overthrow the regime. Sawa, however, has no motivation left because she has been able to achieve her goal. Nevertheless, Jinn reminds her that she has to keep on living for Asahi's sake, and should gain safety out of the organization. On the other hand, Elena worriedly thinks about why she had to be the one to end up pregnant while her man runs around excitedly after hearing the news. In the evening, Asahi keeps waiting for Sawa when another kid hurts herself from tripping on the ground, as her mother rushes to embrace her in her loving arms. Asahi is reminded of the abuse she had to go through while living with her parents. She feels snowy feathers fall on her. She turns to see Sawa coming back. Asahi happily prepares dinner for them. Sawa is as cold as ever, and Asahi's little heart can't take it anymore. She bursts out into tears, crying into Sawa's back. The latter decides to tell her a bit about the day she got kidnapped. She tells her about her wonderful older brother, whom she loved dearly. He had died, but at least she was able to achieve her goal. The only thing now remains is for Asahi to take her revenge. The little girl stubbornly makes her sit down to eat the poisoned food, as she calls it. She wants Sawa to eat it if she regrets what she has done to her parents. Sawa takes the onion soup bowl as Asahi watches with determination, smiling when the woman finally sips it. It obviously didn't contain any poison. Makoto sets out to escape Japan for his freedom with a prosthetic hand, even though the doctor had advised him against it. He gives Makoto a hallucinogens pill bottle for his pain and tells him he better stay alive if he ever wants to visit the bookstore. This meant that Sawa was still alive, which came as a surprise to him. He probably didn't expect her to survive that night. Before his departure, the driver wants him to hand over the blue gems created by Jannomi's snakes, but Makoto cheekily tells him that he doesn't possess any, which obviously means that the mission was a failure. The driver takes out a gun and shots can be heard coming from the car. In the middle of the night, Elena takes Sawa to the location where that group of rebels is supposed to attack because Elena is expecting and can't put her body at risk. They successfully ambush the group. Elena starts knocking them out one by one, but Sawa can't seem to move. She stays frozen. Elena is about to hit the ground when one of the men holds a sword over her head. Sawa finally wields her sword to terminate him. She sees the blood on her hands and is reminded of the puddle of blood her brother turned into at Jannomi's lab. She starts freaking out. It's obvious that she is struggling with PTSD. Sawa hides under a fluorescent billboard when Elena finds her. She returns the sword Sawa had left behind in haste and informs her that new executioners will soon be replacing Makoto and herself, because thanks to Sawa's revenge on Jannomi, Elena has been granted the option to leave the organization. Her new issued identity is going to be Mei Yonezawa and is given a job as a clerk, which she obviously finds hilarious. Sawa doesn't understand this transition because Elena has been so against children and claims that she still hates them. But Elena says that she knows a man who wants to raise this unborn child of hers and doesn't even care who the father is. She can finally imagine a different future. Before parting ways, she slaps Sawa hard across the face, telling her that she needs to run away for real the next time she decides to do so. The next day, Sawa sees a crowd gathered. Whispers of an apparent murder-suicide can be heard. She pushes her way through the crowd. She recognizes from the clothes and the blonde hair that the dead body belongs to Elena. Sawa's brain starts racing. She knows for a fact Elena would never do that to herself. Was this perhaps a message from the organization to let her know that there is no escape? Sawa feels trapped because she has fulfilled her duty and doesn't want to keep on living this murderous life any longer. She worries that if she tries to leave, Asahi's life could be in danger. The little girl hears her and offers her to eat the poison which Makoto had given her. Sawa swallows it, and the effect kicks in immediately. The intensity makes her fall to the floor. Asahi starts freaking out. What was she expecting though? Sawa lies on the wooden floor unconscious, while a teary-eyed Asahi holds her hand. Asahi thinks back to Makoto telling her that he doesn't hate Sawa but rather loves her because she is so strong and in so much danger that he just can't leave her. He further tells Asahi that it isn't easy to live a life of lies, but when lived long enough, it holds way more meaning than the truth. So if Asahi wants to live with Sawa, and wants to leave behind this life, she needs to make her take the pill. Asahi finally agrees to go with his plan. The flashback ends. Now back to the present. As soon as Sawa stops breathing, Asahi gets on with executing her plan the way Makoto had instructed her because the pill only works for 3 hours. She waits till the clock strikes 1:30. The messenger boy arrives at the shop. She informs him of Sawa's death. He hurriedly goes to get the man in the glasses. The man arrives as described to her by Makoto. He happens to be Jinn. He checks Sawa's pulse, and Asahi puts on a marvelous show of crying. If Jinn doesn't fall for it, Makoto has told her that he will kill her. Asahi holds her breath, waiting for the final verdict. Jinn wishes his condolences. It seems that he has believed her. So far, the plan is working. They load the coffin in the car. She has to cry some more crocodile tears. The men take pity on her and let her ride to the cemetery. There, the cleaner is preparing a grave for Sawa. Once burial starts, Sawa thinks back to Makoto, telling her that if things go according to plan, Sawa will be able to escape with Asahi from Tokyo and keep on playing pretend family, but this time, freely. Just then, Jinn notices Nana, Sawa's familiar, but doesn't say anything. Only 15 minutes remain. Once she's buried, Jinn informs Asahi that she can stay longer if needed. The car will come to pick her up afterwards, and that the next day someone from the orphanage will visit her. The moment Jinn's car speeds away and is out of sight, Asahi drops Sawa's sword umbrella and starts digging the grave with her tiny bare hands. Sawa's mind drifts off to a memory-turned nightmare. She sees their trio having dinner with the usual banter when a baby cries. In her mind, Elena is still alive and had the baby. She goes to look at it, but to her horror, it's a little Asahi telling her that they can be real siblings now since she has killed Sawa. Everything turns dark. Red rose petals start falling, as Makoto and Elena tell her the same thing, that she is dead now, and pushes her down into a void. She keeps falling and falling until she hears Asahi scream for her. Her eyes abruptly open. Asahi somehow managed to dig the dirt away from her and open the coffin. Asahi tells her that Sawa the killer is dead now, and she is free to run away with her. Asahi shows her a piece of paper. The address is Asakura Temple, Iwai Prefecture is written on it. The little girl explains that the arrangements have already been done. She has already bought tickets for a boat with the money Sawa had lent her earlier. With desperation in her voice, Asahi asks her to help her just one more time by escaping with her before Nue finds them and kills them both. Sawa is reluctant, but Asahi pulls her out of the grave. Meanwhile, Jinn investigates the death of an Englishman in a car. His intel has confirmed that Makoto has made it out alive, and Jinn has come to the doctor from whom Makoto was getting treated. The doctor vaguely tells him that he had blue crystals with him. Jinn kills him and leaves. On the other hand, Sawa and Asahi run towards the boat through the tunnel system. Asahi doesn't want to leave her behind no matter what. In the woods, Makoto hides from men hunting him down. He swallows way too many hallucinogens and starts hallucinating. He starts losing his mind, swinging his sword in all directions. On the other hand, a meeting with the Emperor is being held. Jinn is also present. Yoshinobu dismisses them quickly to hear what Jinn has to say. The latter reports that they will soon get their hands on the blue blood formula which Janome has created. Yoshinobu wants to make a better version of what Janome had accomplished with the changelings, and wants Jinn to bring Sawa to him for that. He further reminds Jinn that there is no escape. Sawa and Asahi have successfully escaped to the Iwai Prefecture. There they come across a woman who seems to have already been paid by someone to look after them. She lets them inside the temple and shows them to their little hut where they are supposed to reside. It's a mess inside. Sawa decides to make an effort and help Asahi in cleaning the place. Back in Tokyo, Jinn has the rebel group leader tied up to a chair and nonchalantly tells him that his father has been killed and his brother is next. He better start spilling about the diary that Makoto possesses. Speaking of the man, he is busy seeking out the 3 treasures which the treasurer had informed him about before her murder. The first one is secured inside a rice exchange shop. It's a map. By collecting these, he wants to take down the regime and set Sawa free. He starts hallucinating yet again. This time it's Elena. Her image is as cunning as ever, telling him that Sawa probably has settled in and doesn't need him anymore. Sawa and Asahi are taking a stroll when they come across children playing. Asahi happily runs to join them, but falls. Her teacher comes to help distract her. He tells her about ladybugs. They seem to have settled into their new normal life quite easily, while Makoto is struggling to stay sane and alive. He's only left with finding the last map, but it dawns on him that he has run out of pills. He ends up seeking out the last piece of treasure, which happens to be top secret information on Sawa's clan, the Karasumori. Makoto sees that the bookstore has been temporarily closed. Later at night, Jinn meets him, informing him about Sawa's death, but Makoto doesn't react to it. The man tells him that he knows Makoto is somehow responsible for her death, and on top of that, Asahi is nowhere to be found. He shows Makoto a bottle of pills that the latter needs. Makoto asks if Jinn is going to kill him, but the man tells him that there's no need, because Makoto will die in a matter of 3 days without the pills anyway. Jinn offers him a deal. The pills for the things that Makoto possesses in his bag, that is if he wants to live longer to meet Sawa. The last part catches Makoto off guard. Jinn says he was only cracking a joke. The man sure has a broken sense of humor. However, he finally admits that he does actually know about Sawa's whereabouts and will leave her alone if Makoto hands over the bag. Makoto finally surrenders it. Upon opening, Jinn only finds the crystal blood samples but not maps. He hands over the pills as promised. Makoto escapes from there without giving any information on the treasures. Makoto somehow safely makes it to the temple where Sawa and Asahi are staying. He wants Sawa to take her revenge. Apparently she isn't done with it just yet. He wants to tell her to know the whole truth. Asahi refuses to wake her up because Sawa the executioner has died and she wants her to live a normal life. Makoto regrets not getting rid of Asahi. Later, upon Asahi's persistence, they both go to attend a festival. But due to the shortage of ryumyaku, there's no electricity. However, for the first time in forever, Sawa gets to enjoy a peaceful conversation with the teacher at Asahi's school, thanks to the little one setting them up, but it is short-lived because Makoto interrupts them, wanting to take her away from him, even though this whole new life of theirs was Makoto's plan. He tells her that she has become too boring now, because there was a time when he used to idolize her will to live. Makoto starts dragging her away, but she refuses to leave with him. The teacher takes her hand and walks her away from him. While walking, the teacher suddenly falls to the ground and dies as blood appears on his back. Sawa is left perplexed. She starts looking around for any signs of danger when she hears Asahi scream. Sawa hurriedly makes her way towards the little girl, but she yells for her to stay back. Looking up, she sees Makoto standing on the rooftop and transforms into a changeling thanks to Janomi's experiment sample, revealing that he is biologically female. Disclaimer: for the sake of respecting Makoto, identifying himself as a man, we will be sticking to masculine pronoun. He jumps down from the rooftop, expressing his desire to remove Asahi out of the way because she is becoming a hindrance in Sawa's return as an executioner. Seems like Makoto has changed his mind on giving Sawa a free, normal life. Sawa grabs her sword, but hesitates. However, Makoto takes this as an opportunity and stabs the little girl just under her shoulder. She becomes motionless. Sawa feels rage flowing through her veins as Asahi's memories start flooding in and she transforms. This is exactly what Makoto wanted. He is definitely pleased to see her come back. Sawa is furious. She screams in anger and the fight begins. They keep blocking each other's attacks. Makoto wants her to give her all. He is enjoying their fight a little too much, which frustrates Sawa. She can't understand what's so hilarious about this situation. It's obvious that Makoto has the upper hand, with the strength that he displays when he throws away Sawa's sword. Sawa somehow manages to get him off herself and grabs her sword. She steels herself for the upcoming attack. Makoto gets to slash Sawa's shoulder, drawing blue blood, but Sawa strikes back with so much force that Makoto's changeling form cannot sustain the injury, and he transforms back into his human form. Makoto, even on the verge of death, keeps on laughing. Sawa holds back from finishing him right away. The latter has gone mad. He celebrates being the center of Sawa's attention after killing the only child who finally gave her a purpose to live for. Sawa holds her sword in front of him. Makoto is ready to embrace death by her sword like some sort of a martyr's dream. Just as the sword is about to cut through Makoto, Sawa stops abruptly upon hearing Asahi's voice in her head telling her she doesn't have to kill anymore. She lowers down the sword, disappointing Makoto, who starts repeating lines from Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. Sawa yells at him to just stop. Suddenly, the moon turns red. Birds swarm the sky, they part, and a giant crow-like humanoid bird appears from the sky, killing Makoto and disappearing into thin air. Sawa watches horrified. Her eyes bulge out at the sight of a dead Makoto. Sawa thinks back to everyone dying around her, leaving her all alone. She lets out a loud wail and fall helplessly to the ground, fainting. Jinn and his men come shortly after to take away the bodies and collect Sawa. He brings her to a secluded hut near a shore. She sits on the sand, her brother's words echoes in her head. He had warned her that the battle will only end when every single one of their clan members has been terminated. Her will to live exists no more. She walks into the water, the high tides engulf her, she starts falling deeper and deeper. Jinn reaches just in time to snatch her out of the water. She tells him to just let her die. He can't afford to do that. She starts screaming for a reason. Jinn takes her to the safety of the shore as the rain pours down on them. He tries to comfort her, telling her that she needs to embrace her blood rather than cursing it. She has to keep on living without relying on other people's strength. Nana, her familiar, watches this heart-wrenching scene from afar. Jinn offers her some water, but she breaks the mug and picks up a shard, begging him to end her life. Jinn grabs her by the nape. For the first time, the man looks mad. He holds it close to her jaw, clenching his teeth in anger, but lets her go. He gives her his birth name, Iori Makabe. He tells her some more about himself, that he was exploited, but he chose to live. He fell in love once, but it had to end, yet he still chose to live. He knows the pain of losing someone dear. He holds her as she cries her heart out. Jinn leaves her sleeping form inside the hut and goes towards the shore. He tells Nana to look after her because he hardly has any days left to live. Then he meets Elena. By the looks of it, he was definitely aware of her being alive, but chose to not correct Sawa. He assigns Elena one final task. Sawa wakes up the next day from her slumber. Jinn informs her that Makoto had earlier distributed Janomi's new drug in anti-regime groups. Sawa ignores him and says that he was killed by a dark shadow. Jinn continues to say that he wants Sawa to help take care of the pending business and will be waiting on her in Tokyo. He takes his leave. A woman named Rinko walks in on Sawa. She announces that she happens to be a Nue executioner and has been keeping an eye on Sawa ever since she escaped. Sawa isn't pleased with the information because Rinko literally didn't offer to lend a hand when they needed her the most. Sawa decides to head back to Tokyo, but when Rinko asks her about it, she doesn't give her any response. Nana conveys something to Sawa which makes her change her plans. Rinko doesn't mind because she has to tag along no matter what. Back in Tokyo at the bookstore, Jinn puts someone in bed and makes the rebel group leader drink Genome's drug. Meanwhile, Sawa has no plans of returning to Tokyo, so she has decided to visit her hometown. Jinn is struggling to stay in his human form when he gets interpreted by a messenger from the Emperor. He comes bearing the news that the new drug is currently under testing and will be released to the public soon enough. Jinn is given the task to form an army as soon as possible and has to hand over Sawa to them because she happens to be the source. Jinn wants Sawa out of it and tries to convince the messenger to relay to the Emperor that Sawa's position as an executioner holds high importance, but the man has already left. Sawa and Rinko, after walking for a long time, finally reach the Karasumori village. The latter inquires about her people. Sawa goes into a bit of history. She tells Rinko that her people had lived in Japan for 1600 years. They could sense the Ryumyaku in things. Their blood has the power to elevate the strength of the Ryumyaku. However, they hated going into conflicts and sought to stay out of any, so much so that they forgot how to defend themselves, which led to that fateful night. The people always had a special bond with birds. They leave in a train, and Rinko passes out even though she had assured Sawa to get some rest. In the meantime, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs is taken hostage. The criminals want to make a deal with Lieutenant General Tadaaki Iwasaki. Sawa is about to jump into action, but Rinko tells her to let it play out. The deal happens to be the Deputy Minister's life for their criminal teammates. They will simply terminate the man if their requirements aren't met till the stop for Tokyo arrives. Rinko gets up in a drunken state, puts her palm against the terrorists, and suddenly a claw comes out of her skin between her fingers. She kills them one by one and informs one of them that this claw took 40 bands of metal called uranium to construct. She terminates him as well by digging the metal through his cheek and circling it in his mouth and then dragging it out. She walks back to her seat. The Lieutenant General asks if she was sent by the Shogun, but she cuts him off, warning him not to complete his sentence in a public train, and he can take the credit for it. Sawa is back in her bookstore. It holds Asahi's memories. She gets on with dusting the books. While doing that, she notices the book Merchant of Venice and is reminded of Makoto's lines. She flips through the pages. A folded piece of paper lies in it. Sawa goes to the organization, takes the elevator and makes it inside Jinn's office. He hands her the papers for the next assignment, but she throws them from his hand, unsheathes her sword and slashes the back of his shirt. It reveals the same marking on Jinn's back that she had seen that fateful night on the murderer's back. Makoto must have left the final treasure, the Kurosumori clan's top secret information, inside that book for Sawa to find. Jinn had years ago shown her Jonume's back to deceive her. All this time he was the true killer hidden in plain sight. A glimpse into Jinn or Iori's past is shown. Scientists are experimenting in a facility on the correct amount of dosage. Him and the rest of the test subjects are placed inside cages with collars on them just like lab rats. The scientists come to take another one, but he has already committed suicide. Iori hides the shard and volunteers to be the next test subject. He manages to escape from that hellhole and runs through the forest in the dark of the night, though leaving behind a trail of dead bodies behind him. The Shogun is informed right away of his escape. A Nue agent named Kotodama appears to tell him that the Shogun has chosen him, but he can't turn back or else he will be terminated. Iori was never given a choice to begin with, so he has to follow this new path now. He gets taken to the Shogun. The agent motions for him to take off his shirt. His back has that mark which the agent explains to the Shogun that he got it from being experimented on with about 120 types of snake venom. He has become immune to every single one of them. The Emperor is satisfied. He warns Iori that he has to eliminate many lives on this path. But first, he has to lick clean the wine poured on the floor. His cellmate's voice echoes in his mind about having nowhere to escape. Iori gives up his dignity and bends down on all fours to lick the floor. After he is done with that and feels sick to his stomach, does the Shogun shows his acceptance by allotting him a new identity, Jin Kuzuhara. He trains his body and kills in Yoshinobu's name, leaving behind any remaining sentiments. Time passes by and Janome betrays them, running away with the experiment documents for researching immortality. His next target, the Karasumori clan's blue blood. Jin is then given the task to protect the clan against Janome and any other suspicious activities. However, The villagers must not become aware of it. He follows the orders day in and day out, watching the villagers enjoy their peaceful lives. The peace is short-lived when Kotodama comes bearing the news about terminating the whole clan, every single one of them, for the reason that they have declined Yoshinobu's offer to contribute their powers to the regime. At night, Jin eats the food brought by Sawa's mother Tawakara Sumori, because she still thinks he is protecting them. Jin eats the onigiri as tears stream down his face. Afterwards, as the clan gets ready to sleep, he terminates them one after the other, sending them into an eternal slumber. By the time he reaches Sawa's house, he is silently crying again. Tawa opens the door and comforts him, but he pierces the sword in her abdomen. She falls to the ground, still trying to stop him from killing her family, but he terminates her husband and then her son. Jin opens the pantry and is met with the frightened figure of little Sawa. She passes out. He carries her to a cave, wanting to turn her into an executioner. Kotodama, however, disagrees and wants to leave no room for mistakes. Jin ends his life instead. Fast forward to current time, Sawa has figured out the actual culprit behind her clan's demise. She confronts him about it. He nonchalantly admits it. All of a sudden, the room turns red and the alarms start to blare. Jin warns her about the arrival of Yoshinobu's army, ready to escort her. He shows her a secret passage, instructing her to wait at the Shinobazu pond at 24:00 hours if she desires not to turn into their blood-pumping lab rat till her last breath. Upon hearing this, Sawa reluctantly puts the sword back and jumps down the stairs to escape. As soon as she leaves, seconds later, the Yoshinobu men seize the room. They demand Jin to hand her over, but he acts clueless. He is spared this time, but is warned that if they meet the next time, he will definitely be killed. Jin isn't bothered by it. Meanwhile, she keeps running through the underground tunnels, but the men find her. Surrounded from all sides, someone kills 2 of the men with arrows. Sawa hurriedly runs that way. The person happens to be Elena. She throws a hand grenade their way and successfully escapes from there with Sawa. They end up in a graveyard but soon get attacked by Rinko. The new girl has been given the order to bring Sawa alive to Yoshinobu. Sawa puts down her sword, refusing to unsheath it. Elena calls her stupid as always. Sawa resolves to hand-to-hand combat, but that doesn't look fair though, because Rinko's claws relentlessly keep on attacking her. She expresses her joy for wanting to see Sawa get sucked dry of her blood soon enough. Sawa keeps on dodging her attacks and lands on one of the claws with force. It surprisingly breaks, causing Rinko immense pain. Sawa realizes that she can disarm the girl by breaking her claws. She breaks the other one with her bare hand and cuts off the ones on her feet as well. Rinko screams in pain. Sawa wants her to give up already, but she jumps right back up with claws coming out of her back. Good grief! What have they done to her body? Sawa starts running and dodging the claws. Rinko wants them both to die. She can't let Sawa happily walk away so easily. Sawa appears through the dust and punches her hard in the face. The girl hits a tree. She just sits there and cries in agony. Sawa walks away. Elena is surprised with the character development of sparing Rinko's life. The Sawa she once knew wouldn't have let Rinko see another daylight. But then again, who is she to judge when she herself has changed? The women take shelter in Sawa's bookstore, the only safe place left. The light starts to flicker. Elena informs her that the situation in Japan has worsened. Due to Rumyaku drying up, there is a shortage in electricity. The regime is going to crumble soon because people have taken to the streets to protest against Yoshinobu. She turns on the radio, and coincidentally, it's the news about the riots. It says that the military is seizing up the riots with the order to shoot anyone seen outside, because they will be considered taking part in the riots. Elena knows that Sawa wants to get her revenge on Jin, but she tells her that considering what the world has come to, the only thing that matters is keeping your loved ones close. A look of despair crosses Sawa's face. A second later, the door opens, revealing Asahi. The little girl has miraculously survived yet again. Elena tells Sawa that Jin had managed to get his hands on some medical student named Todoroki to save the little girl. Sawa can't believe it though. She stares in shock. Elena takes her leave. She doesn't want to ruin the moment, but the universe has other plans. As soon as she steps out of the door, the baby decides to arrive. No midwife is around to help her because of the riots outside. Sawa is left to deliver the baby. As the chaos continues outside, Elena is giving her all to deliver the baby. After what feels like eternity, the baby girl arrives safe and sound. Later, Asahi can't hold back her tears while the mother and baby sleep peacefully. Sawa, unlike her cold self, wraps her arms around the little girl, whose only wish is for them to never be apart ever again. This time Sawa agrees. They both sit outside planning their future, void of any bloodshed. Sawa wants Asahi to go to school and gives her the supplies for it. She then decides to give her the only keepsake she has of her mother, the diary that she never got the chance to write in. Sawa wants them both to take turns and fill its pages. As Asahi sleeps inside, Sawa struggles to sharpen her sword. She is reminded of Asahi's words. The woman starts sobbing, tears pour out of her eyes like little pearls. Sawa musters the courage to stand tall and sets out to take her revenge. She hasn't gone far when Elena runs into the street bare feet to call after her. She warns Sawa that she will die. Jinn's power should not be underestimated. Sawa knows that, but for the first time she was able to imagine a different future, and she wants Elena's kid and Asahi to have a little bit more freedom in the world. She wants to do this for their sake. Elena informs her that she will take Asahi with her when her man comes to pick them up. Sawa thanks her and they part ways. She walks towards the guards, declaring that she is Sawa Korasumori. She has arrived to surrender. They surround her, but tons of crows appear out of thin air and she disappears from the ground. Sawa's eyes open, looking down, realizing she is being carried by that humanoid crow. The voice distinctly belongs to Jinn. It clicks. He has taken Janomi's pill. Jinn confirms, saying that he ended up giving Yoshinobu an inactive pill. He brings her to the shore and goes on to say that he had no choice but to take the drug because Yoshinobu isn't thinking straight anymore. The emperor wants to drain Sawa of her blood. The woman feels betrayed and deceived because she wants to go after the emperor, but Jinn won't let her. She feels like Jinn still chooses to defend that man because Jinn keeps obeying his orders. He killed her clan, took Makoto's life, lied to her, and left her in the dark, all for Yoshinobu's sake. She transforms and starts fighting Jinn, but he is too powerful now. He throws her to the ground. She picks up her sword again, but he drops his and refuses to fight because he wants her to return to the home she now has with Asahi. He will take away her pain and agony with him. Sawa refuses and declares that if he comes any closer, she will have to kill him. Jinn grabs her arm, bringing the sword closer to his chest, saying firmly that she doesn't have to kill anymore, and cuts his own chest. Sawa falls to the ground in disbelief. Jinn gives her some answers. He tells her about her mother. That woman was as pure as the white feather. Jinn had promised himself that night to protect Sawa no matter what, but he has realized that what he did was awful. So he wants to give her those lost, precious moments in the form of Asahi. That is why he had saved her. Sawa can't believe her ears. She demands how that could make things fair. Her mother's love can never be replaced. However, to Jinn, it doesn't matter as long as she lives. He leaves her on the shore to personally kill Yoshinobu. He goes inside that palace, killing his guards. He walks into the man's camber, cuts away the mesh net, only to reveal an old, ailing man. Jinn feels pathetic for taking refuge under a symbol whose truth lies in the hands of an old man. Yoshinobu, fearing for his life, tells him to take all the money he wants, but to spare his life. Jinn informs him that he has finally understood the meaning of life. He has someone he cares about, that is all he needs. Sawa makes it to the burning palace. People have set it on fire and are trying to break the walls. Sawa stands there helplessly looking at the palace, getting engulfed in flames. Jinn remains inside it after killing Yoshinobu. He gets wrapped in the fire as well. Sawa comes back to the store as Elena and her family leave. Asahi had refused to go with them. She was sure Sawa would eventually come back. She was right after all. They sit outside. Sawa feels like all her energy has been sucked out of her. She can barely talk. Asahi lets her lean on her as tears stream down Sawa's face. Fast forward, Asahi has grown up and so has Elena's daughter Satsuki. Sawa is nowhere in the picture. From the way Asahi misses her presence and wants to still learn a lot of things from her, it can be assumed that she has died. Asahi now wants to take care of someone the way Sawa had looked after her. Satsuki keeps on flipping through the diary which Sawa had once given Asahi. The latter takes it from her and puts it in a bag. Satsuki questions why Asahi has stopped writing in it. She responds with not wanting it to end just yet. Nana comes to sit on her shoulder the way it used to with Sawa. Asahi's eyes flash blue. It looks like she might be a Karasumori as well, and with that, the story comes to end. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.